up, everyone? Welcome to Season 7, Episode 29 of the Focus TV. We have Octavia Wyatt here, Cardell Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons, and I am Wilson Tarpe Jr. Get straight to it. We told you guys last week when we spoke, by this time, we would know who would be representing the East and the Western Conference in the NBA Finals, respectively. Those teams are going to be the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. So we're gonna get straight to it. Octavia, we'll start with you, then Cardell and Ray. First question I have, just your overall thoughts on the series, and then what you would like folks to keep an eye on as the series begin. Obviously, that could change as the series gets going, because we'll have a show between now and the end of the series, or at least two shows. So we'll start with you, Octavia.
Yeah. First thing is, I feel like last time when we talked about it, I always say Dallas always kind of plays around with your feelings about if they're actually going to do it or are they just going to play. So congratulations to them for really going out there, taking it, and getting a gentleman's sweep and making it to the finals. I love the storylines, outside of basketball. You got Kyrie going back against Boston. You got Kristaps going back against the Mavs. I also think it's hilarious that Grant Williams is somewhere punching air right now to have been on Boston last year to be traded to the Mavericks to only end up in Charlotte and not end up in the final. So that's just gotta suck. But from the basketball aspect, I think it's going to be a great series. I think where we're going to see a lot of competition is definitely going to be down low. Kristaps Porzingis has already been cleared to come back and play in game one. But of course, he's going to have to go against Derek Lively and Gafford down low. And him coming back off of being out for 5 weeks with a calf strain. I'm interested to see how it is. He's going to be able to pull them from the basket. We know he can stretch the floor. So just looking to see how that works out. And then I'm really interested to see who guards who for Boston against Dallas. Who's going to guard Kyrie and who's going to guard Luka. Boston has a lot of top-tier perimeter defenders. When you have Drew Holiday, you have Derek White, you also have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who can play good defense as well. So I'm interested to see what they're going to throw at them defensively, and really just looking forward to a good series. I think it's going to be a great series. It's going to be a good story for either franchise that wins. Dallas getting their second, and Boston going for banner 18. But there's so much that can happen in this series. It's definitely going to be a game of chess as well with the coaches. We know what Jason Kidd is about, and Joe Mazzulla has, in my opinion, stepped it up this playoff run that they've had as far as his coaching after having a full off season to kind of get himself together as far as this run for them. So I'm really interested. We know who the big players are going to be in the series with the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Browns and the Lucas and the Kyries and the Kristaps and who else, but I'm interested to see who are going to be those, as they say, others that step up because we know who's going to be delegated to do the most, but you always need somebody else to kind of step up in the clutch. We know Derek White can do that, although he's kind of cooled off since the first series. We know PJ Washington has been having a good playoff run as well with Dallas. So I think it's going to be a evenly matched series, and I'm just looking forward to it.
All right, Cardell.
Yeah, it's an interesting series for sure. A lot of firepower on both sides. Obviously on the perimeters where the strength of both teams are. You know what I mean? And it's not just like with the Mavs. It's not just Luka, aka Larry Legend Jr. and Kyrie and those guys. You got to pay attention to PJ Washington. You got to pay attention to Derrick Jones. Hardy gave him some good minutes in the last series. Josh Green, he has some big shots, man. You know what I mean? You gotta really pay attention to those guys. And Jason Kidd, one thing I learned, about him in the last series, and I love actually, well, he's always done that as a coach. He even did it when he first started with the Bucks. He's not afraid to take chances. Like he'll put players in there that you would think wouldn't get in there just to throw you off. And just to see what it is. Like he's fearless as a coach, and I think that's an advantage or whatnot. On the Celtics side of things, it gets interesting once you get past the starting lineup. because that once you get to that bench, it gets kind of iffy. You know, you can say Al Horford or whatnot, but how good, how effective will Kristaps Porzingis be now that he's returning? He's been laid off, you know, been off so much, and he got his hands full. He got to deal with Gafford and he got to deal with Derek Lively, and them brothers can finish. You know, they set good screens. They're gonna make him come out on the perimeter. He's gonna have to come out there. He's gonna have to be able to move and hold up against Luka and Kyrie, and they're gonna test to see if he's ready to play or not. And the thing that people don't want to touch on, the thing that kind of destroyed Minnesota was in their defense as to how aggressive they were was Derek Lively's passing. Um, when Luka or Kyrie gave it to him to roll down the middle and gave him the ball, and Minnesota, you know, pretty much crowded him in the paint, he makes great decisions with the ball. So if he doesn't get the assist kicking it out to Hardy or PJ Washington, somebody for three, or Derrick Jones for three, he's got the hockey assist. He's passing out to them guys and they swinging, and now Luka and Kyrie got wide open shots. He's a better decision maker than Gafford, on top of being an outstanding finisher. You know what I'm saying? Like, he shot 100% from the field, was fourth on the team in assists in the last series, and no one's paying attention to that. Now, the thing about him is he's iffy at the free throw line, so you got to watch that. And I know Missoula is not afraid to go there if need be, you know, especially with everything on the line or whatnot. Then you got Gafford with his defense, his rebounding, the way he can finish as well. You know, I know Al Horford can bang for, you know, a little bit with one of them, you know, for most of the game, but Porzingis gonna have to give them something, man, because they're extremely small. I know they got a couple bigs coming off the bench, you know, on the Celtics side, Hauser and all those guys, but I don't think they got the athleticism to deal with Derek and Gafford up front. So with them two cleaning up everything, being lob threats and stuff, it's just pretty much pick your poison. And if Kyrie and Luka are on, it's gonna be tough. But like I said, it's gonna be a battle. They got to guard the Celtics guys. It's gonna be a battle on the perimeter, and that's where it gets interesting. The thing with the Celtics is their starting core is deeper. They're stronger. But once you get to the reserves, you're not sure what you're going to get. The thing also about the Celtics is they just had one or two games, man. You just be like, what the hell is going on, dog? And that's dangerous when you got Luka and Kyrie together, especially if they clicking on all cylinders. If they keep playing like they did against Minnesota, you don't have time to be playing those games, though. You can't give them one or two games where you just tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be on your game, because that could be the series for real. They don't need much, and so that's what makes it interesting and very difficult to predict how this gonna go. You know what I mean? Because you got like Octavia said, Drew, Derek White, and they can pretty much guard them and keep Jaylen Brown and Tatum pretty fresh, because they can just stay on Derrick Jones and PJ. As long as they're going to get tested when Lively and Gafford rolling to the basket and looking for lob plays. They got to be on high alert, because they can kill you with that. But it's going to be a fun series, man. And the ultimate chess match, like I said, I just gave you a variety of reasons why it may very well come down to coaching and how they utilize certain guys in different aspects as the series goes along, man, because there's so many ways each team can kill the other team. And if you're not alert or ready for that, you will get killed, and the series can end up being short or can end up being long. But it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
Yeah, I think one of the big bullet points is, of course, how effective Porzingis can be. I mean, we know he's capable of at 100%, but is he going to be 100%? You know, so that's definitely a big question mark for Boston. And like Cardell brought up, you know, they've had the luxury to be able to have a couple of those WTF games every series this playoffs, because, I mean, just being honest, they've been that much better than the other team where they can skate by, you know, even when they're having those you know, those kind of disjointed games where nothing seems to be going right. Then they just pull it out at the end. They swept Indiana, but 3 of those 4 games could have gone either way. I don't think they're going to have that luxury against the Mavericks. They're a much more talented team. Obviously, they're meeting them in the finals, so you know they're bringing something to the table. Yeah, those matchups are going to be very interesting, because Tatum and Brown, they're hell to deal with, but so are Luka and Kyrie. I just need to see Boston, specifically those two guys, kind of mix it up a little bit. Maybe explore going down in the post a little bit more, operating out the mid post, instead of strictly starting at the 3-point line and trying to initiate offense that way. They're going to need their legs because the way Dallas is playing, Luke and Kyrie, the way they're getting to it, bring your lunch pail, man, because those dudes not playing around. And Cardell brought up, the others for Dallas. Those guys have really stepped up. PJ Washington has been hitting timely shots. Jaden Hardy, all those guys he brought up. Derek Lively's contributions. We seen firsthand what Gafford has brought. With him being with the Wizards recently, and we always said, if you put what he's able to do on a better team, then it will be amplified. And God damn it, if it ain't being amplified, man, because he's made a huge impact on them. They were 26 and 23 at the trade deadline, and now they're playing for an NBA championship. So yeah, man, those guys, they came in and they fit perfectly. They maximized their talents, and yeah, man, they might be what decides this game, this series, because you got to think with as talented as the top two guys are for each team, they're probably going to cancel each other out. It's going to come down to 3 through 12. Unless there's a game where one of those pairs is just on one and there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, man, it's definitely going to be interesting. I look forward to a great series.
Yeah, like you guys said, some of those in the finals, those things on the margins typically matter more. This time of year more often than not. Cardell saw you shaking your head crazy, talking about Gafford, and we were all there talking about, just imagine if there was somebody that hit him every time he ran hard after protecting the rim on the other side, and he doesn't have one but two of them where it's like, hey, young fella, go get it. Here, no, please, really, go get it. So shout out to Washington and Charlotte for help fixing the hole that the Dallas Mavericks had, to push them where they needed to go.
I heard a stat that said on NBA Sirius XM, on the NBA radio show, they said the last 8 to 10 finals, I forgot which one it was. There's a former Washington Wizards that has played in the finals. Dog.
Yep, it's 8. Yep.
And we've been saying since we were kids, the Wizards are the best at trading away talented players, and they go on and excel. It's been going on since we were kids, like literally since the Rod Strickland, Chris Webber, Rasheed. It started with Rasheed and Ben. It started with them. To the point, even the 04 Detroit Pistons were doing their run. They used to joke, Rep, Big Ben, they used to joke and call themselves the Detroit Wizards because there were so many Wizards and former Bullets players on that team and they were winning championship. Like they used to call themselves that, just joke about it. It's insane, bro. Like, go ahead, Wilson. My bad, man.
Nah, you good. I mean, clearly, this franchise in the past has loved helping fund other teams' championship runs. That is a nasty stat to have your organization tied to when you're not going yourself, just people that you brought in your building. But like you guys all mentioned, yeah, man, it's just on the margins for me in Dallas so far. I think I did it maybe 2 rounds ago, probably not believing how consistent some of the Dallas others could be. I'm not going to make the mistake this round. And then Cardell, you mentioned in comparison to Boston's others who haven't always had to do too much during this run, as Ray, you mentioned, they've been able to kind of mess around and still be okay. You can't. There's just no room for error here at all. And yeah, it was crazy seeing Hardy in there, but he was productive in those minutes, which again, being fearless leads you to this leads you to the finals where you were okay last round. You're probably a little bit more comfortable throwing the kid in there now if you need to, because he's been in there already in high stakes. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, like you guys all mentioned. And when we get back next week for this segment, I can't wait to see who we'll be discussing and who's up or if it's tied. But Ray, we're gonna transition over to the Washington Mystics.
Oh, the Mystics. Currently they're 0-8. Having a tough time against Connecticut Sun right now. They're in the third quarter. It's about 2.5 minutes left. They were up by 1 at the half, but Connecticut came out the locker room on a mission. They're now up 53-40. So, yeah, I mean, Connecticut's undefeated. They're on the complete opposite side of the spectrum of the Mystics. So, I mean, going into this game, realistically, their chances were grim. But at the same time, they gotta stop having these spells where they just completely let go of the reins. They played almost immaculate first half outside of their 3-point shooting, but coming out the locker room, they have seemed to just lost all their bearings, and Connecticut's taking advantage. Again, the Mystics are shorthanded without Shakira Austin and Brittany Sykes. And like we said the last time we talked on Mystics Outlook, the holes that they leave are glaring. Shakira, she's obviously rim protector, versatile defender as well. Her activity, her length, her athleticism, it's really the cornerstone of the Mystics defense. And that's where it kind of started off the season hanging their hat. But, Shakira, she's still trying to work her way back after the hip injury. And, she's not playing every game. So when she's not there, it's difficult for them to execute on that end the way they would like. And as far as Brittany Sykes, what she brings defensively as well from our own ball perspective and help defense as well. They're missing that. And on offense, they're missing her explosiveness and her decision-making. They go through these ruts where they just can't create anything. And, as we saw last year, she was there to kind of, stop things from just snowballing out of control, because at some point she can just put her head down and get to the basket. So they're just missing that explosive kind of player. They're still trailing by 13. If it's one thing we know about them, they are going to fight. So it'll be interesting to see if they can, if they can recover and make a game of it. But we'll see you guys later on in Mystics Outlook. Hopefully we'll have something positive to talk about. But the way it's looking now, it's going to be one of those nights.
Yeah, it's a hellacious start to the season for them. And as we've mentioned on Mystics Outlook almost every time, it'd be much easier to digest if they were just flat out horrible and weren't in any game. You'd just be like, all right, on to the 2025 draft. But instead, it's a whole lot of, pulling your hair out as a fan or whatnot. Just watching objectively is tough. Watching them try to, as you mentioned, navigate down the stretch of games. But we will see y'all later on Mystics Outlook. That said, look, we're going to get straight to it. It's going to be an interesting conversation today. It's been all over the internet. So, we I was going to take a break, but there's no reason. Just let's get straight to it. We're probably going to need a break after this conversation. So we want to just save the break for that. All right, man, take it or leave it. Let me go ahead and get this up on the screen now. Cardell, you got the reins.
Yeah, this is going to be a multi-layered question, so y'all just follow me real quick. We all know about the big discussion between Stephen A. and Monica McNutt, who we know for years, covering the WCN around, doing media work in the area, former Georgetown player from the area, discussing, Kennedy Carter's what they call cheap shot on Caitlin Clark last week. Stephen A. Smith tried to take credit on his show for giving the WNBA extensive coverage, and Monica McNutt, she wasn't rolling. She wasn't having it. Stephen A. said, who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women's sports more than First Take? McNutt said, Stephen A, respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to. It left Stephen A. Smith stunned, and all he could muster was a pair of back-to-back wows. They went back and forth a little bit. McNutt followed up. She said she doubled down. She said, "You're not my. You know you're my guy." Smith said, "Who does more than us?" McNutt said, "Stephen A, I'm talking to you. Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have." Smith said, Okay, I got it. You're my girl. But you missed a lot of episodes of First Take. You missed a lot. McNutt, Stephen A, 3 years ago, you would not talk about the WNBA at this level. Don't do that. Later on this podcast, Stephen A. Smith elaborated more. He said, quote, "Ladies and gentlemen, I am the executive producer of First Take. You ever heard of Monica McNutt? You have now, because she's on First Take a lot. Shanae Ogwumike, absolutely wonderful, spectacular basketball analyst. Ask her how it's been to be on First Take. How about Andrea Carter, who's a rising star in this business? How much do you think First Take helped that? What about Kimberly Martin? What about Molly Curran herself? I challenge anybody to find a show on sports television that discusses women issues, that discuss the WNBA, or women's sports that highlights and profiles female analysts more than First Take. It's been going on for years," he continued. Like I said, there are multiple layers to this that I want to ask y'all. One, how did you feel about Monica challenging Stephen A for not covering the WNBA years prior? What were your thoughts on Stephen A and many others? Specifically, man, you know, like what Charles Barkley, LeBron, Shannon Sharp said, trying to talk about the WNBA, but really haven't covered the league at all. And three, did it irk you to hear Stephen A on this podcast say you ever heard of Monica McNutt before she appeared on First Take, which diminishes the work she's put in over years to get to where she is. Work that we've seen up close and personal, sitting in press row, and with her covering the Mystics back in the day. I'm gonna start with you, Octavia. You're the female on the show. It's multiple layers, former basketball player, so I know it's gonna hit you a little bit different and deeper than it does us. So, have at it.
Yeah, it definitely hits me a lot deeper knowing Monica and have played against her in this area growing up. We're about the same age. So I've played against her multiple times in AAU and things of that sort. To start off, what's crazy to me is pretty much every day when I'm at work, I have ESPN just on. And I listen to First Take most of the time. This was the one day that I was so busy that I didn't even pay attention to half the stuff that was going on. So when I saw the hoopla afterwards and caught the replay of everything, I mean, she's 100% correct. Like there's no argument, and to me it's crazy because Stephen A knew there was no argument, which is why he said, "Wow, you have no words," because she's telling you facts. He had to gather himself and then go on his own podcast to, of course, stand up for himself or whatever you want to say. But it's facts. We all know this is facts. It's not even just me. It's widely noticed. If the platform that he's had for, like she said, how long it's been, Stephen A has been on ESPN for eons at this point. If he wanted to cover the WNBA, he could have. He could have covered it when Stewie came in. He could have covered it when Candace came in. He could have covered it when Simone was there. He could have covered it when Maya Moore was there. Like, there were multiple top tier, the very, very top echelon of women basketball players that could have been discussed. We want to talk about just women's sports in period. I mean, the women's national soccer team has been amazing for who knows how many years. I've never seen them on ESPN. First Take. Megan Rapinoe. I mean, granted, like, women, period. So, I mean, I get you trying to save face. You're Stephen A. That's great. Understandable. But I applaud Monica for standing her ground because she's not wrong. She's 100% correct. And it's the truth. Second part, as far as what he said on his podcast, it was a low blow. It was a cheap shot. We've known Monica. Again, like I said, and honestly, her rise to fame, if he wants to say, to me, has really nothing to do with First Take, to be completely honest. And he wanted to throw Shanae in there. He wanted to throw Andrea Carter in there. He wanted to throw Molly in there. I mean, let's not talk about the females that he used to have on the show that probably don't even talk to him anymore, that used to work at ESPN, the Kari Champions, the Jamel Hills. So there's going to be different angles from both sides. to say that is just a slap in the face. Like, you're doing exactly what she said. Like, you're proving her point at this point. Like, you're proving that it's only good. It's only beneficial when it's for you. Like, it's good when it's, it's helping you out in your ratings or whatever. But to be for real, Monica, Andrea Carter, and Shanae, they all really got their rise from covering what? Women's college basketball. That's what really got them people starting it. Like, even during this past year covering the tournament, people were everywhere talking about it. Of course, I will say it was probably more eyes on it because of the whole Caitlin Clark effect, right? But the way that those three, including Elle Duncan, who is also a great analyst or commentator or whatever you want to call her, host, whatever, yeah, they might get more eyes now, but the only reason you have them on First Take is because they had a platform at some point. You're not just pulling anybody on there. You're pulling them because you know people are watching them, and now you want them to watch your show. So who's benefiting who more? They're benefiting you more, to be completely honest. So it's a slap in the face. And the whole situation, like, and I told y'all this before the season started. I said it's going to get so bad. I knew it was going to get so bad with this whole Caitlin Clark thing or whatever. But part of me is like, I'm literally at the point where, like, I wish that people weren't watching at this point. Like, that's how bad it feels to me. Like, I get to the point where I'm like, damn, I wish we could just go back to chilling in the cut, just watching good, women's, only the real fans know about it. But of course, you have to appreciate the fact that more eyes are on it. They're getting more coverage. They're getting more publicity to the masses for the stuff that they've been doing. That's the part that's frustrating as a female athlete, as any of them. And it's always going to come down to, well, I hate to say it's come down to, and it's hard because I personally try not to categorize all men do this and all women do this, and although that it's a lot of men who are former athletes or whatever that are, chiming in for their point. But it's always like, I feel like at a point as a woman, you feel like it's like them telling you, like, calm down, act like a lady. We don't do that. But in the same token, y'all do the exact same thing in the realm of a sport. Now, like Monica has said, like Shanae has said, like Andrea Carter has said, like I saw the clip with Becky Hammond, with her and Asia Wilson, with all of these people saying, like, there's nothing personal against Caitlin Clark. There isn't. But if you coming in here with all this hoopla about, you definitely gonna get that work. Like, it's a part of the game. And for them to say that, oh, they're targeting her, don't mess up your cash cow. This, she's the reason everybody is watching you guys now. It's a slap in the face to all of the hard work that all of these girls have been doing their entire life. The WNBA has been around for 20 years at this point. There are many pioneers that came before Caitlin Clark. There are people calling Caitlin Clark the greatest WNBA player ever. And she's done nothing. She's done absolutely nothing. But the fact that she's the shiny new thing and everybody is just so amazed by everything she does, and it takes away from her too. Like, at times I feel bad for her because I feel like she probably doesn't want all of this attention and all of this spotlight. She wants it, as a basketball player, but she doesn't want the personal aspects of it. But to call her the greatest basketball player of all, that's a slap in the face to all of the pioneers that came before her. And again, Caitlin Clark has done nothing in the league. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. She hasn't been here long enough to do anything. So for them to be tapping her as it and then tapping her in the way that they are, and then framing it as, oh, they're jealous of her or whatever. Like, they're not jealous. Yeah, they're probably frustrated because I've been working my ass off for the past 8 years, and there's only 12 teams in the league, and I've been working my ass off to get on one of these 12 teams. Now here she comes. Yeah, great. They're expanding. They're going to have 2 more teams. It's going to give more players opportunities to play. But I didn't have those opportunities. And now I have to go out here and reprove myself to these people that have never watched me play ever. Now, and again, Shanae, Andrea, all of them has said the way Kennedy Carter went about it, yeah, probably not a good look. But it happens every day in basketball. Nobody, granted, y'all talked about Draymond Green does it all the time. Still got a job. We talk about the bad boy Pistons of the early in the back in the days. There are many players that sometimes they got a bad rap, and unfortunately Kennedy Carter may be one of those people, but she is not indicative of the entire league. So for them to boil down one thing that happened to Caitlin of a cheap shot, whatever you want to call it, it's the game. And Caitlin runs her mouth. We've seen it in college, and we saw it in this game as well. It's not college no more. And we said that when the season started, that you were playing against 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. You're playing against grown-ass women that got kids your age. They ain't got time to play with you. So if you're going to talk that talk, you got to walk that walk as well. There have been plenty of games I've been in like, hey, you got to get her done. I played against boys growing up. We was elbowing just like everybody else. So for them to boil this down to they're jealous or they just don't like her because of all the it's not that at all. And I hate that it's men that are doing it. You don't hear a lot of women coming out and saying it like, oh yeah, they're targeting. You'll hear the fans or the Fairweather fans, people that are just starting to watch, have these opinions of these things, but it's a farce. It's totally fabricated. This is not life, and it's tarnishing the league more than it's helping the league, especially for former NBA players, former football players, to do this to these women is, I hate to say par for the course because they've been through a lot. Now, yeah, there are times we've talked about as well. They have a lot of stuff too, but it's just annoying. So it's to the point where like I really don't want to even watch anymore because it's just getting out of control.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I totally get it.
I'm sorry, it was just a lot. It's a lot that behind it, and like I really don't want to watch anymore because it's like it's just out of control.
Right. No, go ahead, finish.
No, I'm good. Like it's. I feel like I said everything I needed to say at this point. It's just out of control, and I think you guys all will agree. So.
Ray, it's on you.
All right, yeah, man. The first question, I love what Monica did. I love how she handled herself. Completely professional, wasn't emotional or anything. Just gave him straight facts and stood on business. And he clearly had nothing to say. And I applaud her because a lot of people in that position would not, wouldn't do that for several reasons. One, like he said, he's the executive producer on First Take. We've seen people, challenge him in that way and never be on that show again. So, for her to do that, I mean, she's just a woman of conviction, man. And it's, it definitely deserves respect and recognition that, that she stood up for, for the female athletes. I'm sure her being an athlete herself and the way she's had to work her way up in the industry, you can't be soft at this point, or you can't be scared to speak your mind. So, it didn't surprise me that she did it, but it was still refreshing to see that. For his response, talking about who talks about the WNBA more and all that nonsense. First of all, women's sports as a whole only gets 4% of media coverage. And that's all women's sports. So whatever fraction that the WNBA gets of that 4%, if he wants to say he's the loudest voice in that little small pot, like, dog, you want recognition for doing less than the bare minimum. So why would you even plant your flag on that? That's embarrassing, to be perfectly honest. With what Monica pointed out, the platform that he has, that you only decide to amplify the WNBA for a fraction of 4%. Like it's embarrassing. For him to try to take some pride in that, it just shows where he's at on the topic, period. Moving on to these people that, first of all, they don't even watch the WNBA, let alone cover it. and now all of a sudden they're experts and have all these opinions. How about you ask somebody first? And even if you do, I don't care if you watch every game, there is a difference between watching and covering. I've been watching the WNBA since its inception. I feel like I know a whole lot about basketball. I didn't start covering the WNBA until 2019. I've learned infinitely more being behind the curtain, going to practices, going to games, being in pressers, being up close and personal to the product. You cannot replicate that knowledge without being in the trenches. So people that aren't doing that, you need to defer to the people that are doing it. And it sucks that the people that aren't doing it have the microphone, and this is why we are where we are. It's just people need to take a step back, humble themselves. And if you do want to talk about it so brazenly, how about you get your ass out in the field and do some real work instead of sitting up in the ivory tower at ESPN studios and talking nonsense. Like it's just the new culture of media, man. Nobody wants to do real work. People just want to sound like they know what they're talking about. And it's easy to fool people when the masses don't know what they're talking about. So they just listen to the loudest voice. So it's an epidemic, man. It needs to be curbed somehow. I don't know how we do that, but what Monica did is a good first step because it was laid out in plain English for everybody to see, to one of the most powerful voices in sports. I know his ego won't allow him to reevaluate and change course, but he is who he is. That's neither here nor there. But the fact that she did that, and in the response to it, she was immediately on Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco podcast last night. She's gonna be on Bomani Jones tomorrow. So she's making the rounds, and the more she talks, I think it's going to have a great ripple effect. And then his weak ass response, man, that was pathetic. Like, he was stewing on that for 12 hours until he can get home and get in front of his mic and try to downplay, what these women have done to put themselves in this position. Like, I mean, y'all have said it ad nauseum, man. Monica really put in that work from the ground up, man. Built that shit brick by brick. And now she is where she is. National platform, the voice of the New York Knicks on every show. And for him to try to take any credit for that, that was a punk move, man. Like, just because your ego bruised, that don't mean you got to go and try to diminish the work somebody else put in. Like, dog, First Take did not give Monica her name, man. Talking about something, have you ever heard of Monica McNutt? We heard about her a long time ago. She was on Around the Horn and several other ESPN shows before she even stepped foot in First Take. So I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. And the other ladies he mentioned as well, talking about Chanae and Andrea Carter and all those ladies, they have put in work and are absolutely amazing at what they do. And, for him being in media as long as he has, did you mentor them or give them any pointers or do anything to help them better their craft? No, you didn't, because to be perfectly honest, they're better at it than you are at this point. So if we want to go there, we can go there. But yeah, man, that was as bad as he looked in the morning. He looked even worse when he got on that podcast, because all that was a bruised male ego grasping at straws, trying to save face. And I mean, to the people that know, that holds no weight, man, because it's obvious that all those ladies did that work on their own. And like Octavia said, you wouldn't bother putting them on your platform if you didn't think they were already amazing. You're not raising anybody up through the ranks or helping people. You putting people in a position that are going to be beneficial to you. So, I mean, it's a shame that a 60-year-old man is acting this way, but whatever. But yeah, man, super proud of Monica. I'm glad she did it. I hope she continues to do it. And now, and I don't even think he's in a position to retaliate in any way, because people genuinely love her because they saw the work that she put in. They know she's a genuine person. and she has never had to compromise herself or do any shady business to get where she is. She put in the work for something that she loves to do. I saw LaChana Robinson posted something on Twitter earlier. It was an email that Monica sent her right after college career was over, and that showed Monica's dedication from jump. Basically saying, "Hey man, my college career over. I'm trying to get on this media thing. I saw you guys covering us during the NCAA tournament. It's something that interests me. How I get to it." And from that day until now, we've seen what she's done and how she's put the work in. So yeah, man, I loved every minute of it. I don't watch ESPN shows at all. I just, catch the clips on Twitter, and if something interests me, I'll do a little research and see what it's about. And I'm glad I dug into that one because she lit him up, and that stupid face he making in that image down there, it was worth it. It was all worth it.
Wilson, let it out, Wilson.
Oh man, they got me already. Coming from a place of calm after that. This ego is a hell of a drug, man. Like Monica been putting in work. Like from cable access, like television in Maryland. Worked her way up from that. Hit a ceiling, came back down, worked her way back up again. That's just disgusting to just disrespect women like that as a whole. Then personally, that's just nasty work to disrespect all those black women on the public forum in that manner like that. It's beyond foul. And as Ray and Octavia mentioned, like each one of them got it for them. Each one of them put in work for years. And it maybe he missed it because, shocker, it was in women's sports where the work was being put in, which is why maybe he wasn't aware that some of us knew who these people were. I remember I didn't realize Andrea Carter was Andrea Carter on ESPN for a while. I remember her seeing her at games when we were covering W for a while. I'm slow. It took me a while to put it together. It's like, oh, that's who she is. Cool. But like, come on, man. Like, there was just no reason for that. And then Cardell, you and I talk about this all the time. Like, hate to sound like old man yelling at cloud, but like, brother, there used to be a responsibility that people had with having a big platform. Because you have the power to shift so many things. And if you're irresponsible or butthurt on a given day, you come out here, you can slander people beyond repair for no good reason, as he chose to do. And then like he made this, like there was a time he respected journalists, but that was a long time ago. Who he is now is purely his entertainer. Which is why it's kind of even crazier. It's like, how could you, who got it the hard way as a journalist, turn around and do these to this group of women for essentially doing what, like, we all remember when, he was on his way up and had, what was it, quite frankly, for a second, then it was gone. Then if you live that, how can you turn around and do this to other people? Like, turn around and just shame other people or try to shame other people for no reason. As you all mentioned, like, if all these men talking crazy, Gil and all them, Gil was talking about the women need to not wear regular uniforms, like as of 2 years ago, and now he's talking about the W. Like, it just can't be taken serious. Like, all this stuff it's like a really backward simulation, and everyone's losing. Also, if you watch women's sports at any point before this year, it's always been crazy competitive. This is nothing new. It's been like this. It's always been like this. No matter how much talking and praying and coaxing and emails y'all want to be sent, it's not going to change. Let it go. And that's nasty that y'all want that to happen when y'all complain about the men daily, about them not competing like you want them to until the last 16 games of the season. And then they do it on site and y'all find a way to pervert it. Because, y'all jumped out there in the street on something you never had to jump out there for. Because if you looked at the league before now, it would have been even easier not to jump out there because of what came before this. Then you would have seen, hey, I definitely need to sit here. Let's see what happens. Because the stuff that preceded all this, some of that stuff was spooky, special, different. Like, what are we doing here? And then for him working at that 4-letter place for that long, bro, you're in the state of Connecticut, man. We ain't got nothing in that state. We have nothing. We have nothing. Just UConn basketball. You tell me you never accidentally hit Gamble? You never accidentally hit Stores? And then you gonna turn around and say this? Like, that's crazy. So you were in proximity to Stewie going 4 for 4 with Morgan Tuck and company. You were a train ride away, brother. Nothing at all. The Mystics run in 2019. They had to go up to Connecticut to get that done. He was right there. Again, train right away, sir. Never, ever. We barely saw you at Wizards games. We damn sure knew you not showing up to WNBA games when you were doing what you were doing with the narratives that were being pushed on the Wizards side of things. We saw you once, twice every 48 games. Like, there's just no reason for this. It's just nasty, man. And then for all the people with the Caitlyn stuff, and it's not a knock on Caitlyn, it's just me being honest because, as Ray said, some of us actually covered it. Didn't know we covered the Big Ten. Been watching Caitlyn at least in person twice a year since her freshman year. I know some of y'all caught on her junior year, and that's great. So if someone has habits of acting a certain way for their entire life and it never goes checked, who are y'all to be like everybody else is tripping? There's articles on y'all love the internet except when it's time to research when y'all do wrong. There are articles, Monica Cesano, Martin, who's on the Aces, they was ready to put hands on her at Iowa because she doesn't know how to behave at Iowa. And was always repeatedly coddled by the coach that since retired. Like, this isn't anything new, but again, I don't feel like there's a need to badmouth anything. Like, y'all want to pretend to know everything. So if you already know everything, you shouldn't be shocked. You push people, you talk trash. In college, look, man, some teams going to tell their kids, hey, don't even respond to it, keep it moving. This isn't college. They got time, dude. You want to go push on people, they just going to push you back. And the fact that I know you ain't really getting no stronger since you was in school. If I was you, I'd just stop messing with people for a little while. Just get through my rookie year, keep my head down, shut your mouth, as your dad told you several times during the postseason run, because you always yapping to the rest, which is not going to do you favors. You already go to the line quite a bit. What are you complaining about? This was never going to be easy. And all y'all that came in talking about, oh, she's a Steph Curry. Stop. She's Caitlin Clark. And there's nothing wrong with her being Caitlin Clark. I wish her the best in this. However, she's just the latest guard that scored a ton of points in college. They hit the W, and that joint hit back. There's a bunch of them in the league. There's one on her team. Kelsey Mitchell is a bucket getter. She's a better bucket getter than her. She been through it in the W, man. She been through it. Kelsey Plum, Lord, what her and Talia Walton did to Maryland several years, many moons ago. Kelsey Plum went crazy in college. And she could dribble with both hands and she went nuts. Again, no shade, just being honest, because some of y'all are brand new here. Struggling. She's the fourth option with 3 aliens. And it's just this is the transition from college to the pros. Sabrina Ionescu. Like, bro, Caitlin got some room just to catch Sabrina. And Sabrina just got freed from what she'd been held under. And she's not even all the way out of it. Thank God for John Quayle Jones and Benaj Laney Hamilton, because now they can't just put you in the lockbox. They got other people to worry about. Bigger problems to worry about. And shout out to you for taking advantage of it again. But this is what we saying, man. That's all. Nobody was putting any hate on or anything, but like, there was limitations. There's limitations you got away with, but that's also why they want to chip. Nobody wants to talk about it. But it's kind of crazy. Like, some of your teammates are like literally fine the further they got away from you. But long story short, whatever. Shout out to Kate Martin on the Aces. Y'all just got to stop, man. And all y'all, like, the former basketball players, specifically, I don't even want to go too far down the road. Just, what's wrong with y'all? Don't hurt the cash cow. Are y'all serious? But this is y'all saying this in literally the previous segment. Everyone in the 90s were plumbers. Y'all got to pick a lane. We got to pick one. You got to pick one. So you telling me the plumbers weren't allowed to compete, even though they was knocking the snot out of people? But now y'all's champion. Y'all like, oh no, don't hit her back. I know she elbowed you in your face. How dare you hit her back? Really?
First thing, I love Monica checking Stephen A. It was long overdue. We all know he's part of the go along, get along deal, especially with this WNBA thing. We've been saying since she was in college, it's not gonna be sweet for Caitlin. And the thing is, with Caitlin, it's not really her fault totally. She has a little attitude. She gotta grow up. No, she's 22. We all 22. That's part of it. It's not really even her fault why she's going through what she's going through. It's people like Stephen A's fault. The Shannon Sharp, the Gilbert Arenas. People proclaim her the greatest of all time before she done anything. Elle Duncan, I love her response, but one thing she said that pissed me off too, she's the greatest college player of all time. No, that will always be Kareem. She said men and women. There will always be Kareem, Bill Walton, the Stewies, the Cheryl Millers. There are people who have dominated and won. And reason why Jabal's always won, freshmen couldn't play back then. UCLA were the defending national championship. They beat him with him as a freshman in the game. So if he was eligible his freshman year, he could have ran off 4. But that's neither here nor there. She challenged him, and it was perfect, and it was way overdue because he's talking about something that he's clearly uneducated about, that she put her blood, sweat, and tears into, not just as a player, but as a journalist and being in the media game. Wilson knows this. The dog days, Ray said he came in 2019. We've been covering the Mystics since 2013, 2014. I can recall the days when they were at Capital One, Ivory Ladder, on her Allen Iverson, carrying the franchise on her back. It's about 9 of us in that joint, total media, covering the game. It will be me, Wilson, and then Monica. Literally. That's how I even met Wilson. That's how I met Monica. It was that. And most of us were black and people from the area. And that included other teams. Only time you would get a little crowd is when Minnesota came to town. Obviously, they was doing that run. Candace, Tarazi was in her prime. The Sparks, teams like that. The top teams. Other than that, it was crickets in there. We still came because we respected the basketball. We loved the basketball. And we wanted to cover that. No one put a gun out here to make the cover. We respect the women's game, especially someone like me who's a former player as well, who's going to the girls' college games when I was in college and stuff like that, especially double headers and stuff until I had to go get ready for my game. So I respect grew up in the whole basketball atmosphere. Grew up on the Houston Comets, Cynthia Cooper and all that. When I was watching Mike do his thing, summer come around, Cynthia Cooper time. I was sitting there watching her. Before that, it was the Meeks in college, watching them, Lobo and all that. Like, it's basketball. That's what's making the ladies frustrated. These dudes are acting weird. They're acting like the dude that don't know how to holler at a girl. And they going overboard, and the girl like, yo, I like it, just be normal. And they just tripping. That's how they're coming off. When all you got to do is come to the game and really come to the game and understand what's going on, learn about the players, learn about the dynamic, and then just talk about the basketball. Y'all talking about Caitlin Clark as the cash cow. Y'all forcing her to be the cash cow. She does not have to be that. She hasn't earned that yet. She hasn't. I get why it's a big buzz. Let's keep it real. She's the white hope. The white folks are behind her. They say, oh, we got one in basketball that could do something. We ain't got one on the men's, but goddamn, yeah, we fight. No, she's not ready yet. And she may never be ready. And that's what the women in the W are going out their way to show, like, she ain't that. So you have to learn. Yes, it's okay, Stephen A. and others, to humble yourself and understand, I don't know much about this game like I thought I did. It's not the NBA. It's a totally different game, even though it is basketball. Those sisters don't play. We were there in 29 when Ionescu first game here in DC. Cloud and Atkins took great pleasure in locking her the fuck up. It was bad. We felt sorry for her. We was like, get her. Yo, and to her credit, late in the game, she started making plays. But it took about a good 3.5 quarters for her to really get them. And they was in her ass, bro. It was bad. We like, woo. We've seen this story before. Kelsey Plum, we was worried she might not make it in the league. So you have to educate yourself before you get on a national platform and start talking like you do know what you're talking about. That's not realistic, man. It's just, and you're doing a disservice. All the women want you to do is appreciate the great brand of basketball that they have. And to be truthfully, we've been saying this for years. It's a better brand of basketball because it's more fundamentally sound. They play harder and they play with higher IQ. Only thing the men have an advantage over is the athleticism, the other word he plays in the air and stuff like that. That's it. So for him to even say that, man, we know damn well, like we don't see nobody at the WNBA again. Matter of fact, Wilson, I can even talk about even with Monica. It wasn't just the WNBA games. We was going up to New York and all that for the USA games.
When they came
to Navy,
the exhibition joints before they went to Olympics.
When they was going on
Rio joint, yeah.
My first one was in 2012 when they came here to DC. Both teams were in DC. Kobe and all those guys were here. Candace, all that, like they was here in DC. Stephen A. and them weren't there then. And you had the real excuse to be there because you could be like, hey, at least I'm with the man. Let me slide over here and see what's going on. Y'all, none of y'all were there then. So, and it's been some all-time great players. Y'all miss Sue Bird. Y'all miss Tarazi's on the way out. Griner. Y'all didn't even see Griner best years when she was dunking on like y'all miss the Minnesota Lynx start their dynasty, dog. Trying to force feed us something that our eyes where we know better, where the common fan are like, yo, she ain't like, if she that, she shouldn't be going 1 for 10. I'm just saying she shouldn't be going 1 for 10. Candace Parker came right in kicking ass, dog. They had it to get chippy with her because it was bad. She came right in going to work on them. She's not that. She's physically not that demanding. And like Wilson said, that was proven in the championship game. You got locked up by a sophomore guard. So what did y'all really expect was going to happen when she got out here with these more seasoned vets who've been all season? They were waiting. Wilson made a great point. I'm talking to him. They made a great point on Twitter. They were waiting for her. They was calling out her scouting. They was scouting her on Twitter. Yo, when she going left, she going to a step back, her side step 3, dog. Why are y'all letting her go left? Make her go right. When she go right, she passes. Get up in her, be physical. They were waiting on her. They had the whole blueprint waiting. And that's why they're taking great pride in doing this. Like, this is who y'all trying to really bank on? For real? And the sad part is, all this about Caitlin Clark, man, they ain't talking about Asia Wilson, how she's dominating the defending champion. Fees out there challenging her like she killing across the board, dog. They're actually at the top of the Western Conference right now, the Lynx. And isn't Diamond Miller their top pick out?
Yeah, unfortunately, she's out with a knee injury. Yep.
Exactly, and they're still up there. That tells you how much fees is killing. You ain't talking about the Liberty and stuff like that. How they're doing thing. What about Connecticut being undefeated? They're about to be 9-0. If they're not, yeah, they are 9-0. They just beat the Misses. We're gonna talk about that. Y'all not talking about the other rookies that's killing. Leo Edwards making an impact. You just brought up Clark's teammate from Iowa that's on the Aces and stuff like that. The Cameron Brink out in LA and stuff like that. Rakia Jack out there, like it's other rookies making impacts. There are a ton of basketball stories going on that you can talk about if you do this hard thing that y'all ego can't allow y'all to do, and that's just watch the game. And I always have this, like, why is it so hard for these men to watch the game? And I just feel like they can't stand to see women do something physically that they can do. And it may bother them, especially seeing Stephen A's response. So it bothers me that they're so uneducated with on these platforms, but spewing that. And then you got other people who are so just noodle brained to believe it because they're on these platforms. They expect to just roll with it. And that's not how it should be, man. And then for him to get on this podcast and try to diminish her work and say, you know, have you heard of Monica McNutt before she appeared on First Thing? Like, dog, that was so damn disrespectful. Doing media work ain't easy, bro. It's a grind. It's a grind. I always tell the story, me and Wilson, after our first year covering the Wizards, we was like, dog, whew. Hey, dog, and they lost in the playoffs, dog. We was happy because we was experiencing it, but when they lost playoffs, we was y'all happy, dog. Like, woof, get a little break, God. That, like, we was exhausted, bro. Because we were there from training camp to 2 days down at BCU grinding, boom, boom, doing all of that. All the way till April, late April, early May, and all that. And they lost to the Raptors, and we was just like, dog. That's from basically late September, early October to late April. That's months, man. Games, shoot-arounds, all that. And we was going to everything. That was before they changed rules. So we was going to the opposing team and their team, just learning the league. And you realize it's a lot to this that we did not know being outside of the mix as far as being fans. Once we got in and really saw everything that moved, we like, yo, woo, this is education. We realized the people that was running around talking like they knew about it, full of it, they didn't know. We realized the people on the platforms talking like that, talking stories. That's where I started looking at Stephen A. different when he was trying to push that John Wall, Brad Beal beef. And we like, yo, dog, we leaving, and we seeing Brad Beal, John Wall, and his family at the elevator joking.
Every game.
Then in the morning, they don't like each other. I'm telling you, they need to get traded. What the people texting me, I'm getting texting me, yo, dog, which one need to go, man? They don't like each other. Dog, they're fine. I said, saw on first tape. Dog, they're fine. But Stephen A., I'm like, now I got to get an attitude. I'm like, how you going to tell me that I was right there? Stephen A. ain't in D.C. He's at some studio on the other side of the country. He don't know what the hell is going on. He just talking. That's when I started looking at him different. So this doesn't surprise me, but it's dangerous because it's a league that's trying to grow. And they had the nerve to actually tell Monica McNutt, who's played this game, and you know the people she competed against are still playing for the most part, or they're in coaching, or they're in deeply tied to basketball. You're telling them, you're telling people like Rebecca Lobo, the analysts, the people who cover this game, basically that they don't know what they're talking about. If that's not arrogance, I don't know what is, dog. Especially when you open your mouth and we can tell you have never been to a WNBA game. Why are you even talking about? Like, that's my problem. You got too many of these personalities because you think people want to see them. No, man, you shouldn't be like you don't need to talk about everything, bro. Like, I can go to a hockey game. I still won't know shit about hockey. So what makes you think you're gonna know about that, dog? Like, you really got to do your research. And Stephen A. knows this. He used to be a journalist. That's what makes it even more disgusting. So if you're trying to help the league grow, help it grow. Report on it. You don't have to force feed people. And don't say she's the star, she's the one milking and all that. She's only that because y'all got a camera in her face. If y'all put a camera and say, I don't know, Asia Wilson, for example, then she could be the star that she is. And the league can be built off her. And you know what the other ladies would say? I can't even. Shit, it's well deserved. So why is it so hard, man? It's just, dog, it's so hard. It's so disrespectful. The way that they're coming off, man. And my advice to fans and stuff like that, stop thinking ESPN is the end all be all, dog. There are other sports shows, like, I don't know, the one we're on currently, that have been reporting on the WNBA for years. Holla at them. We're there, dog. Like, we know what's going on. And I'm going to end it with this. You know it's BS because as far as the coverage with the WNBA, because we laugh about it all the time. There's a certain Hall of Fame reporter who I won't name from the area back in 2019. Didn't come to a game at all.
Oh, with Bill.
We get to the semis. We're in the presser. He pulls up front row all of a sudden. Bill Laimbeer, coach of the Aces. Look dead at him in front of everybody. Hey, what's up, man? Nice of you to finally show up. And for everybody to see, call them out right there like, what are you here for now? I know all these other people. I done seen them. We done came to D.C. I remember these people. Now you want to pop up all of a sudden because Mystics was on a historic run. One of the most dominant runs in WNBA history for a championship team. Now you want to pull up and have a story and stuff like that. Call them out on the BS. Where you been at, dog? NBA ain't going on. It's the summer. You ain't doing AAU college or nothing. So where you been at? You cover basketball, right? You in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Where you been at, dog? Nice of you to show up. Those were his exact words. That's how I look at all these new people that's coming. Stephen A. and them jumping on the CC bandwagon for ratings and views so they can keep putting dollars. That's all in their pocket. That's all it's about. But if they would take the time to really appreciate the game and really look at it for what it is and talk about the games, they will understand them other ladies are far more qualified in the WNBA that can do the same damn thing. And you don't have to kiss up to the white demographic that's following Caitlin Clark, hoping for a great white hope. Stop comparing her Angel to Magic and Bird as well. Because Magic and Bird came in and kicked going to work. Turn the teams around like 39 extra wins and stuff. Caitlin can't even barely get a damn win in the league. With Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. And Angel's a role player. Great rebounder. That's about what you're going to get from her right now. She is not a star. Not yet. They have to grow. They're rookies. But they're not setting the world on fire. We've seen what that's look like. We just talked about Candace Parker. She won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same damn season with Lisa Leslie on her team. We know what that looks like. So we gotta cut the BS out. That's what the women are basically saying. And they're going to keep making that little white girl's life hell until y'all fall back and start appreciating them. That's when we ease up. Until then, we're going to keep smacking until she learns to defend herself. And stop blaming the fever for not defending her. I get it. You technically, they should come to it, but defend your damn self, dog. Oh, I ain't, dog, you knock me down. I'm not waiting for my teammate. You come get me off of her. That's what y'all need to do before I kill her. Like, y'all gonna cut all this out early. Just like when they tested for Candace, she got to it. She got to it. I read an article with Delisha Milton, her debate. She saw the girl winding up. She said Candace had a tendency of boxing out, standing straight up. She said, yo, Candace, bend your knees. I think she's gonna come at you. So I think she's gonna try something. Because you've been cooking her. And she did. So Candace was ready. And we all know Candace had knee surgery in high school and all that, college and all that. So she listened to the vet. Then the Pearson went into it. Tumbled the first time, got up. Candace threw it to the ground. Saw her throw a punch, and then the whole brawl happened. Defend yourself. But you notice after that, they left her alone. It was a little physical altogether, but they didn't test her like that. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Bill Russell. It was an article in Bill Russell, rookie year. Came out, he gave this dude who's a phenom before Bill Russell, 6'11" dude, like a couple years ahead. So Bill Russell was still in his thunder being in the league. He was being extra physical with Bill Russell, throwing him to the ground, clotheslining him, elbowing him, and all that. So Bill Russell, like, yo, he went to the vet and ran out, like, yo, this dude crazy. What do y'all want me to do? And the vet looked down great, like, you hit him hard a couple times, he'll leave you alone. And just walked away. So Bill said, all right. Dude came out through an elbow. Bill Russell stole him, knocked him out cold. All of a sudden, you ain't. It's over with. No one's testing him no more. Sometimes you got to do that, though. When you come, and he came in gold medalist, NCAA champion. He came in with height. You got to do that. Sometimes they're going to test you. So she needed to defend herself. That's how I know she ain't really built like that. Her old Angel. Because if Alyssa Thomas had clothesline me and Alyssa Thomas would have had I ain't gonna be in the press her like, man, I know Alyssa, man. She ain't really mean nothing about. Nah, you clothesline me to the ground. We gotta get in a line on all that knowing shit. Fuck all that. Caitlin Clark as well. And even them blowing up that little hip check. I'm like, come on, dog. That's a normal box out play. That's nothing. By Kennedy Carter, who's like 5'3". Yeah, and then you got these white analysts talking about, man, like she picked her up and threw her in the crowd like they the bad boy Pistons or something. Like she murdered. And that's the problem also. So you got the racial factor, you got these fools, male factors who don't know what they're talking about, adding to it on top of the normal competition. What makes y'all think, like, when you add in all those degrees, how can y'all expect it not to be held for her? So again, man, educate yourself. Just educate yourself. Let's start there. Then hopefully y'all can have some educated viewpoints on these shows and stuff like that. I'm not hoping for it, but at least try, dog. Just try. Or we need to have more sessions like Monica McNutt where they get checked when they get out of line. Let that keep happening. It's up to them. But stop it, man. Y'all not helping the cause and stuff like that. Y'all really don't even care about the W making money. Y'all worry about y'all sales making money. That's why y'all jumping on it. And that's all it is, man. It's on you, Wilson.
Yeah, nah, it's just been nasty work all around. And it's not going to get any better because the stuff that needs to get changed isn't going to change in the off season. But that's another story for another day. Gonna leave all that alone. And again, we're wasting a potentially very talented rookie class. Like maybe a year or two from now, we're gonna look back and be like, damn, there was that many great rookies in that class. And some of y'all wasted this time pushing one person when you didn't have to do it. Like when you literally just didn't have to do it. Like it literally looks like the Sparks got 2 building blocks going forward. But all he's talking about is these 2 over and over and over and over. Like I said, man, I'm ready for my villain origin story next year. Got my dark horse in the race when she hits the league next year. I want. It's a really nice. What is it like the rush arc test? I want to see how y'all respond to that because it's gonna test some of what y'all believe in. I'll be waiting. Want to thank y'all for tuning in as always. We got to get out of here. Got to get over to Mrs. Outlook real quick. But y'all have a great week. Enjoy the NBA Finals. Please, if you got anything out of the night, take some time. It's 2024. It's easy to find how to watch WNBA games, whether however you want to go about it. Take some time, watch the W, unbothered with anybody's opinion. Just sit there and watch it. And keep it moving. Also, if somebody, whatever image some of y'all have of Bill Laimbeer, if he was fine coaching them in that league for that long, why do y'all letting other people say stuff? That doesn't mix, right? He was there for quite a while. But all right, y'all have a great week.